Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tackling a massive security challenge pretty much every IT pro faces at some point, achieving true least privilege in your identity environment. We're going to break down exactly how to stop over-permissioning your users and start mastering custom roles in Microsoft Entra ID.
So, you know how it goes. What actually happens when a built-in administrator role just gives a user way too much power? Have you ever handed the application administrator role to a junior developer just so they could tweak one single app? Well, if you have, you literally just handed them the keys to manage every single application across the entire organization. Yikes. That is a massive security gap, and we really need to fix it.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll quickly cover first principles, break down the anatomy of a role, and then dive right into hands-on configuration. After that, we'll look at a real-world enterprise scenario, highlight some SC300 exam focus points, and wrap up with a lab challenge.
All right, part 1. First principles, built-in versus custom roles.
Think about Entra ID's built-in roles like a fast food combo meal. They're prepackaged, super convenient, but they almost always come with a bunch of extra sides you didn't really want. In the identity world, those sides are excessive permissions. Custom roles, on the other hand, that's your a la carte menu. You're picking highly specific, granular permissions that map exactly to what the business needs, leaving absolutely zero excess privilege on the table.
Moving on to part 2, the anatomy of a role assignment and the building blocks of access.
To successfully build that a la carte menu, we really need to understand how access is actually granted in Entra ID. It's kind of like a 4-part recipe. You need a security principal. That's your who, like a user or a group. Then role information, which is the what they can do. Next is the scope, meaning where they can do it, say the entire directory or maybe just one single app. And finally, the type of assignment. Is it permanent or is it just-in-time access? All 4 of these ingredients have to work together perfectly.
Let's get right into part 3, hands-on configuration for a step-by-step custom setup.
Creating a custom role is a super logical 3-step process designed by Microsoft specifically to stop you from accidentally over-provisioning. You define the basics, you handpick your granular permissions, and then you do a careful review before hitting create. Simple, right? When you kick things off on the Basics tab, you'll give your role a clear name and description. But here's the real game changer. You get to choose whether to start completely from scratch or clone an existing custom role. Let me tell you, cloning is an absolute lifesaver if you're trying to quickly build out tiered administrative roles for a help desk team.
Next up is the Permissions tab, which is the real meat of the configuration. Here, you'll search for specific actions. You'll notice they generally follow a format, starting with Microsoft.directory, followed by the resource and the action, like read or update. You're literally building this role block by block, ensuring it can only do exactly what you say it can.
Finally, you hit the Review and Create tab. This gives you a really clear, fully auditable summary of exactly what you just built. For example, you can see exactly which read and update permissions are granted for a new application management role. If everything looks solid, you just hit Create, and boom, your custom role is ready to roll.
Okay, part 4. Let's look at an enterprise scenario. The App Manager's custom role.
So, a huge problem in the real world is app sprawl. By default, any user in Azure AD can register an application. And as you can imagine, that turns into an unmanageable mess pretty quickly. The easy fix is restricting global app creation in your user settings. But wait, you still have specific developers who absolutely need to do their jobs. So how do we fix that? We delegate. We create a custom app manager's role just for them.
This is where granular control absolutely shines. For our app managers, we can use the search bar to handpick precise permissions, like managing password single sign-on credentials or synchronization secrets on service principals. We are giving these specific developers the exact tools they need without handing them the keys to the kingdom as global application administrators.
Once you save it, that newly minted app manager's role shows up right alongside all the standard built-in roles in your directory. You'll see it clearly tagged in the type column as custom. Just like that, it's a native part of your identity ecosystem ready to be safely assigned.
Moving to part 5, SC300 exam focus and troubleshooting. These are the expert tips and common pitfalls you definitely want to know.
If you're studying for the Microsoft SC300 exam, or really, even if you just want to avoid pulling your hair out during a late-night troubleshooting session, listen up. Custom roles are incredibly powerful, but they aren't available for everything in the directory just yet.
Currently, they're only supported for specific resource types, mainly app registrations, enterprise applications, app consent, devices, and group management. Definitely keep that limitation in mind.
Let's also talk about some common traps admins fall into. The number one mistake? Assigning a custom role at the entire directory scope when it really only needed to be scoped to one specific application. Another huge one is completely forgetting about privileged identity management, or PIM. Just because a role is custom doesn't mean it should be permanently active, right? You should absolutely still be using PIM to enforce just-in-time access. All right, final section, part 6, the lab challenge. Let's test your knowledge.
It's time to put all this theory into practice. Here's my challenge to you. Spin up your Entra ID demo tenant today and try to architect a completely read-only custom role for an application. But here is the catch. You have to assign it scoped strictly to a single enterprise app, not the whole directory. How exactly will you design that assignment to achieve true least privilege? It's like a giant puzzle, and it's the ultimate test of what we just covered today. Jump in, figure it out, and keep securing those identities.